I'm back in Temagami, and I've just launched at the Matagami launch at the south end of the lake. And the plan is to head northwest on Matagami up into Sylvester and to Wolf and eventually McConnell Bay, and then wind our way back, possibly through Laura Lake or through a chain of lakes that lead through Marjorie Lake. So we'll have to see what the weather and the environment holds in store, but I've got some options on the return. But on the way up, it's going to be sort of a straight line through Paradise Lagoon, over the Toenail, and then winding up through Dewey and such until we get to McConnell Bay. So that's the plan for the next couple of days, and this trip could be 3 to 5 days. It really depends on how I feel and what the weather's like, and whether I just get the paddling bug and just paddle all day, or whether I choose to put my feet up and take it easy. Whew, just made our way up from the bottom of Matagami at the access to just before the portage going into Sylvester. Headwinds were quite fierce on the way up, especially the gusts. So just take a little break, getting some food. And it's a busy day. I've seen a couple of canoes come this way, a couple of canoes go that way. So I think Wolf Lake could be busy. Not sure if I'll get a sight, but gonna head up that way and try to find out. Beautiful day, and it'd be nice if the wind pulled it back a little bit, but the lakes are getting smaller now, and hopefully it won't be such a blustery paddle once I get over into the next chain of lakes. So, gonna pack up, get back in the canoe, and hit that portage. Okay, I've just completed the first portage, I think 335 meters. It bisects a little creek that in high water is probably runnable in one direction. But now a short distance across a small pond, and then one portage takes us into Sylvester, and then we paddle into, well, hopefully Wolf to see if there's any campsites for tonight, because there's a lot of people out today. Okay, time to pack up and get going. Okay, I am at the Toenail Portage, and I've just done 2 carries. This will be my third. I divided the canoe into 2 carries instead of taking the pack, because I was a bit worried about the portage given its name. But it's steep, but very straightforward. Beautiful waterfalls along the way, and then it puts into Sylvester Lake, which is a lovely little lake at the top of a waterfall. So gonna finish this last carry and get some shots of the waterfall if I can. Finished up at the portage and paddled across Sylvester Lake, which is a pretty little lake. And leading into Wolf, there's a tiny little swift that we had to overcome. And now we're heading into Wolf proper and hope to be setting up a campsite for later tonight. So better get back in and start paddling. And here is the entrance to Wolf Lake. So I've reached the campsite that I'm staying on tonight on Wolf Lake. It's at the very north end on the east side, directly across from the narrows that lead to Dewey Lake, which will be my destination tomorrow. And we're high up on a hill here, and the lake is just shimmering right now with several islands dotting the landscape. And the lake's not that full. There's a couple other canoes I saw and one other party behind me that will likely set up camp at the south end. So it looks like I'll have this part of the lake to myself tonight, and gosh, it's around 3:40, and I left the put-in at 9:20. So that's a full day. And plus last night not getting a lot of sleep and all that kind of stuff, you know, the anticipation before a trip. So I'm going to get set up, and it'll be an early night, but I'm definitely going to set up a chair and take in this gorgeous view. Just beautiful. Wolf Lake. Amazing. Okay, dinner time. Currently working on tacos with fresh tomatoes, onion, cheese, salsa, and ground beef, of course. And part of this ground beef is going to find its way into Mason's bowl as well. Well, it's morning on Wolf Lake, and it was a chilly night last night, maybe 10, 12 degrees or so. No rain, a little bit damp this morning, I guess just from the dew. And already in the 20 minutes I've been up, the sky's lightened quite a bit. I think some of this haze is caused by the wildfires coming in from Lake Evelyn, or rather Lady Evelyn. So hopefully they'll clear up a little bit, you know, as the day goes on. Not supposed to be rain in the forecast today. And it doesn't feel like it. I think this is going to burn off, and it's going to make for a pretty nice day. Today's goal is to head up to, McConnell Bay. And I think there's just a couple of portages between here and there. Fair bit of open water lake paddle, but looks like some bays and tight spots too. So should be some good viewing along the way. Besides that, it's time to get coffee. It's on the brew, and start packing up camp and making tracks for the portage across the way. All right, here we go. So I'm mostly packed up. It's 8:30, and I'm just finishing off the tail end of my oatmeal and my coffee, and then I'm going to be heading across the portage across the way. So it'll be about, I'm going to say 2 hours to get out of here. 7 wake up, 9 o'clock depart. Haven't been in a real big hurry this morning because it's been overcast, and I've been waiting for some optimistic weather to appear, and it slowly has started to. So we'll have to see what the wind situation looks like. I hear it, but I don't see it. So hopefully nothing too bad once I get across the portage. Anyway, this has been a great site. I'd definitely come back here again. And looking forward to exploring new waters today. So I'll be heading out soon. We are just pushing off from the Wolf Lake campsite and about to head into the narrows that lead to the falls into Dudney. And the sun is trying to peek through. Oh, it is peeking through. There it is behind me. Having camped on the west side, you wake up in shadow. And I went to bed last night under scorching sun. But it looks like this is going to burn off and just might turn out to be an okay day, which would be just fine by me. portage into Dudney is complete, and it's a lovely little put-in with a, I won't call it a waterfall, but sort of a set of swifts behind me, and just a beautiful corridor ahead that will eventually open up to a much wider lake. But I love these intimate paddles where, you know, shorelines within spitting distance, and you just don't know what's going to come around the next corner. Just finished paddling the small creek that leads from the Dudney Portage into Dudney Lake proper, and I'm just staring out at a couple of quartzite channel markers that lead the way into the lake itself. So just about to go pass through those, and we'll see what the lake and the day has ahead. Heading north across Dudney, just passed through the Narrows with the 2 quartzite erratic markers, which is pretty cool. Looks like they were put there by somebody, but of course that somebody was an ice age 10,000 years ago. It's not quite a breathless day, but there is barely a breeze, so this is my favorite paddling weather, where it's just paddling. Not fighting, not battling, just one stroke after another. So let's hope this weather holds out for the rest of the day. Wow, these rock cliffs are something else. Just noticed the ranger cabin on the east side of Dudney. Paddling in to get a closer look. Looks like also the remnants of an old dock of some kind, obviously built in higher water. This cabin looks like it's seen better days, but still love these mysterious old cabins. Beautiful. Just about to paddle through the pinch point on Dudney Lake, separating the lower part of Dudney from the upper part, and pretty little rock garden through here. Water's obviously quite low, but still enough room for the canoe to get through. And just these beautiful, gosh, I don't know what color, or rust colored rocks. I don't know what makes them turn this color, but they are beautiful. Shallow through here, but just lovely. Approaching the portage at the end of Dudney, and there is just this beautiful waterfall ahead, tucked in the woods. waterfall pit stop. And now we're heading to the portage into Southeast Bay. This is a 490, and I have no idea what to expect here, although the takeout looks very generous. So, let's see what happens. Okay, we are at the Dudney Portage, and it's going to be 2 trips, so I'm going to load up and take the I'll take the Blue Barrel and the Pelican case, and then I'll come back for the canoe and the orange pack, so better get started. Okay, I've just finished the portage, I think a 495 from Dudney into Southeast Bay, I believe. And that's what we're looking at out behind me. So I'm going to head north on Southeast Bay and start heading towards McConnell Bay. Not sure exactly the route I'm going to take to get there. It will depend on the wind and my mood, but we're going to set off now and make decisions along the way. Okay, let's go, Mason. Out on the water now on Southeast Bay, and it's looking pretty glassy. We'll see when I round the first point to the right ahead if I'm going to get some wind. I can feel a breeze, but I don't see any real ripples on the water, so hopefully I will escape any headwinds. Beautiful little lake, though. All these lakes just feel like you're the first person here. Beautiful. Heading north to McConnell Bay. Heading out of Southeast Bay, and we've got 2 options, a right or a left. We're going to go left, which is a longer paddle, but it skips 2 portages along the way. I believe I'm in Chiniguchi now. In fact, Southeast Bay may be a bay within Chiniguchi. I'm not entirely sure, but I am sure that I'm exiting Southeast Bay and heading into a winding passage that leads up to the north end of Chiniguchi before we'll eventually turn right into McConnell Bay. Probably a couple hours paddle, but man oh man, this is some beautiful country, and it's all so intimate, like shoreline. Like, look at the shoreline. Everything is so close right now. And there's a loon even. Just these tiny little bays. Filled with rocky islands and tight corners. You don't know what's around the next one. Just beautiful. Just rounded the corner where I can see the expanse of Chiniguchi Lake ahead. And maybe it's the wildfire smoke that makes everything look so three-dimensional or far away. The ridge at a distance looks almost like a pencil drawing, and everything close looks, you know, green, as it should, but in the distance there, it's like you're looking at land through a fog. Hard to tell how far away it is, but man, it is smoky. Hard to see up close, but over there, there be smoke. And I've got a tailwind. Oh, life is good. Life is very, very good today. Right, Mason? As he sleeps. It's the problem with him. He's a dog paddler. I do all the work. He doesn't even carry anything on the portages because he's getting up near 9 and I don't want to provoke any more issues with his legs and joints. But that's okay. His portage days are over. Hopefully I've got a few more days left in me. Ahead is the entrance to McConnell Bay. Well, I made it into McConnell Bay, and the 3 beach campsites that are at the north end of it, they're adjacent to each other. When I came around the corner, I saw 3 canoes and heard voices and people screaming, and decided I wasn't going to stay there tonight, so I'm heading to Laura Lake? Hold on. Yeah, Laura Lake. And this has the 895 meter portage, which apparently is very muddy at the end, like knee-deep muddy. Hopefully it won't be like that for me. 895 is going to be one of the longer portages on this trip. I don't know what the geography on it looks like, but if the muddy section's really bad, I might just portage everything to the muddy section, and then load it in the canoe and see if I can drag it across the mud. Or I might just go knee deep and see what happens there. Anyway, portage is just ahead, and McConnell Bay is a lovely bay. I wish they had more campsites on it, but they've just got the 3 and they're right beside each other. However, they do look beautiful. White sandy beach, like you don't ordinarily see that in Temagami. And I mean, it's stretched out, this beach. It reminded me of Pancake Bay up on Lake Superior, although not quite as grand and not quite as long. It had that same feeling. Millions of people on it. Okay, well, it'll be good to get this portage done anyway, because tomorrow has a lot of portages, and nobody wants to start the day with the 900 meter. Don't really want to finish the day with the 900 meter, but I'm going to feel pretty good at the end of things. So, pulling up to the portage now, and going to bang this one out and hopefully find a campsite on Laura. There are 5 campsites. I'm sure one will be available. Okay, here we go. Well, that's disappointing. I just started on the portage. I almost finished the portage into Laura, the last 100 meters, impassable, just a boggy swamp. And I can see footprints where people have done it, but I was taking 2 steps, my shoes were coming off. Mason couldn't travel in it, like he was drowning basically. It's like quicksand. So thank goodness I didn't take the canoe first. Turned around and I'm back where I started, and I'm probably going to go camp at one of those beach sites across on this lake and put up with all the chatter. I'm just too gassed to go anywhere else right now. So day's getting long in the tooth as well. We're coming up on 4. So we're going to have to find a different way to get back to where I came from, and that will probably be through Marjorie, but we'll deal with all that later. Right now I got to get settled and get some liquids in me. Okay, here we go. Back to the busy, beachy campsite. All right, here's the update. I returned from the Lower Lake portage, having unsuccessfully made it across. About 600 meters in, it just turns into a swamp, and there's the main trail, which looks like it should be a river, except it's full of mud. And then there are these paths that lead off on each side where obviously other trippers have tried to make it around. And I found that I was just sinking in so deeply, and more concerningly, Mason was sinking in up to like his shoulders, and I was worried he'd get both front legs in and then, suffocate in the mud or something. So I made the decision to turn back. It was the right one, but also a frustrating one, because on the way to the bog, before I knew the bog existed, I was thrilled that most of this portage was all downhill, and I was thinking to myself, thank God I don't have to carry anything up this portage. Thank God I didn't do it counterclockwise. Well, got to the bottom, and 600 meters in, had to turn around and schlep my full trip all the way back to the canoe at the beach there. But so be it. And then was flirting with the idea of heading on to Marjorie, but it was getting late in the day, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to head back to the site beside the 2 occupied beach sites and settle in here, which is what I've done. I don't have a beachfront, but I do have a waterfront and shade and sun and everything I need, and a flat tent pad and a beautiful view of the lake. So it was a good decision, and I pulled everything out of the blue barrel and emptied all my bags out into the sun, just getting that moisture that accumulates inside the barrel, and also inside your tent and sleeping bag and whatnot. So it's been a great afternoon to dry things out, and tomorrow I will be heading through Marjorie, then Rathburn, then Laundry, and then back into Wolf, Sylvester, Metagamacy. So that's what's going on, and right now I just have to decide if I want to have a nap or make some dinner. It's around 5:20, so there's still lots of daylight left. Well, we'll have to see what happens. Anyway, there's the update for now, and I'll check in So tonight's dinner is going to be craft dinner with tuna. It's one of my favorites, one of Mason's favorites as well. What I don't finish, he'll mop up. So I'm going to get some water boiling now, and then put the KD together, fire in the tuna, add a bit of cheese, a splash of butter, and I'm going to call that dinner. So let's get started. Okay, just need to get the tuna in here, and then we have a meal. Oh, so good. So this is the end of the day for me. It was a long day, all the way from Wolf, and then up snaking through towards McConnell Bay, and then that wasted time in the portage. Getting down to the bottom of that hill and just seeing that swamp was very deflating, let's say. But like anything, you get over it pretty quickly, and turned around and found this magnificent campsite. I've got some noisy neighbors, but not terribly noisy. Otherwise, it's another Temagami night. Beautiful, clear sky, no rain in the forecast, but we'll see. This guy's knocked out, I'm knocked out, and we just finished dinner of mac and cheese and tuna, which was delicious. And now I'm just having a drink and enough wood for about a 2-hour fire, but I don't think I'm going to last that long. So that's it for today. I've been poring over the map, seeing what tomorrow's going to look like, since my original route south through Laura has been truncated. I think I'm going to head south through Marjorie, and then eventually come out Laundry and head into Wolf. So I'll be doing Wolf Lake and Sylvester and oh god, starts with M. Metagamacy. I'll be doing those 3 lakes again, but that's okay. They're beautiful lakes, and in fact I wanted to spend a little more time on Wolf, so now I get my wish. Anyway, we're going to enjoy this beautiful fire and stay awake as long as I can, and then crawl into bed for what will be a very fitful sleep, I'm sure. Good morning from McConnell Bay. It's around 7:30, and I've made another route change. I have decided not to do the Marjorie Lake route. There's only one campsite on Marjorie and nothing else between where I am now and Wolf Lake. I don't know anything about that route, and I'm a little concerned that it could get boggy or impassable, and if it does, I've really got nowhere to stay unless I backtrack to Marjorie. And then tomorrow, starting late tonight, there is going to be a major rain event according to the weather reports. So I didn't want to find myself stuck somewhere between here and Wolf Lake in a narrow, winding, creaky type route. So I'm going to retrace my steps. I'll add some variety where I can, but I'm going to be heading back to definitely Wolf Lake tonight. And if I can make it, perhaps even back to the north end of Metagamacy. That means I don't have to do any portages in the rain, and would be able to head out the following day sort of at my leisure, rather than dodging raindrops and portages. So I'm heading back to where I came from, retracing my steps almost exactly, although I'll try to mix it up a little bit. On Chiniguchi, there's a few different waterways I can take there. So anyway, it's a good call. I was quite restless last night thinking about all the things that could go wrong. And in particular with Mason, he's had 2 knee surgeries and just recently got over one, and walking through challenging conditions might not be the best thing for him. And I'm alone. Like, what do I do if a 120-pound dog comes up lame halfway through a 200-meter mud bog? Well, I'm not going to have to find out, because I'm going back the way I came, which is the smart move. Anyway, it's a beautiful morning. Nice cloud cover today. Hopefully it won't be too sunny, but it is hazy. And that's got to be the wildfires. Anyway, I'm going to enjoy this calm paddle while it lasts, and just take my time today. It's familiar territory, so I can explore nooks and crannies that I passed over on the way up here. So that's also nice. Well, what a glassy morning today is. There's a breeze, but nothing on the water yet. And I'm continuing to head south on Chiniguchi. Wind in my face, but a perfectly calm Lake Chiniguchi. So hopefully these conditions will hold up for a while. This morning has been full of birdsong. I saw probably a mink dive into the water about half a kilometer back. And the red squirrels, kingfishers, and the ravens have been very busy this morning. But the sun is starting to come up, and the bird song is beginning to fade. And now it's just the paddle. And every time I hit the gunnel with it, I can hear it echo across the lake. This is just a beautiful stretch of waterway. You're making it very difficult to paddle right now. As long as you're comfortable, that's the main thing. Yeah. I'll just work around you. Yeah. Good boy. Coming up to the portage to Dudney. First carry complete from Chiniguchi into Dudney. And Dudney's looking like a beautiful paddle today. So I'm going to go back and get the second and last trip, and then we'll be on our way. Made it onto Dudney, and there's a headwind. Nothing too strong, but it's come up out of nowhere, and there are waves now. Hopefully the wind doesn't pick up too much more, but it might, because we have weather system coming in late tonight, I believe, and I think tomorrow is supposed to be an all-day rain event. So I'm going to see whether or not I choose to stay on Wolf Lake. I may keep going and try to finish all the portages today, so when I get up tomorrow in rain, should I choose to paddle out, I won't have to deal with slippery rock and that sort of thing. So, I'm not quite sure. I'll see how I feel when I get to Wolf Lake, but I think the plan will be to head back to Temagami and stay at the tip of the northwest arm there. But we'll see. Beautiful views here coming back onto Wolf Lake. I just finished paddling across Wolf, and I'm about to enter Sylvester through this tiny little swift. On the way out, I had to get out and pull the canoe through, but on the way back, it'll just be a swift ride. Stay. Into Sylvester we go. Well, it's around 2:30 and I've made it to Temagami. In fact, I'm at the site where I stopped on day one heading in, where I stopped for lunch. But tonight I'm going to stay here, and it is a cute little site with just one tent pad, thunderbox, and a very decent fire pit. So I'm going to stay here because the wind is just howling up the channel from the southeast, and I'm in the northwest arm, and it's just like it's straight lining it straight down into this bay here, and every now and then the trees in this sort of teardrop shaped bay here absorb that wind and just threaten to kneel down, and then the wind dies off and they sort of stand up again. There was no whitecaps on any of the waters I was paddling today, but still like these ferocious gusts that would come out of nowhere and just sort of threaten to spin you around. So glad to be off the water, glad to be done the portages. Tomorrow there's a steady rain expected, and I didn't want to be doing all that kind of stuff, portaging in wet weather. So I'm camped at this site now in the northwest arm, and the plan is to head out tomorrow or the next day, depending upon the weather. I'm not in a hurry. I don't mind paddling in rain, but I don't want to be battling a headwind all the way back to the access, so that's what I'll be waiting for. Anyway, I'm going to take a break now and get tents set up, get settled in, and then contemplate dinner. So I'll check in with you later. Woke up from that power nap just ravenous, and poor Mason didn't have anything to eat yet today because, well, he likes to hold out for better food. And even though I offer him his kibble at breakfast, which at home he eats no problem, he wants to wait for something better. So what is better here is spaghetti. I've got, not spaghetti, but pasta, basically. Spaghetti, pasta, ground beef, and Parmesan. And Mr. Mason here has got this added into his kibble, which is probably now cool enough to eat. So I'm going to mix it in. And finally he's going to eat. He's very hungry. He's drooling all over my food. Stop it. But he wanted to wait. The wait has been worth it. Right, bud? Okay, you're blocking things. Okay, let's go. Eat. Come on. Oh, yeah. Good morning. It is day 4, and it looks like I'm going to be windbound today. This wind's been howling all night. It's actually due to pick up more throughout the day with gusts up to 60k. And worst of all, it's blowing from the wrong direction. I mean, it's coming from the southeast, and it is just barreling right up to the Northwest Bay here. Now, the weather forecast I got on my device tells me that tomorrow that's going to change. The wind's going to go from the northwest and blow to the southeast, which is actually perfect for my paddle out. So given that rain is happening later today, and given that the wind is not going to be letting up, I think today is going to be a pancake breakfast day and a chill out at the campsite day. And I'll get up early tomorrow and ride the wind out, hopefully. But in the meantime, Mason's found a little spot tucked under a tree branch over there where he's got a great view down lake, and he's out of the bugs as well, so he's in a good spot. I've got a coffee, I'm in a good spot. I've got lots more coffee. So yeah, it's going to be one of those days where you just enjoy what's around you without actually traveling anywhere. So that's the plan. Get some pancakes going and see what the day holds. Well, we're coming up on 10:20 in the morning, and it feels more like 6:30 at night. It is starting to get dark. The clouds they're thick, and over here, stormier than over here, but everything's coming this way. So the rain's forecast for around 3 p.m. today. it seems to be right about on track. So this morning's just been taking it easy. I did see one tandem canoe pass, and they headed out into the Whitecaps down the bay. I hope they made it. Maybe they pulled over as they got further down because they were struggling even as they rounded this corner, which is probably the most benign stretch of water between here and the takeout. But it's been a nice morning here. Had a couple cups of coffee, had a couple cups of miso soup, which is amazing. I've never brought that on a canoe trip before, but wow, salty and flavorful, and tofu and seaweed and, you know, stuff you don't usually have on canoe trips, but wow, what a great sort of snack substitute. Explored the area behind the campsite a little bit and checked out some unusual trees and different views of the lake from the perspective of the woods. And it's really lovely back there, quite dense, and, you know, tons of firewood. Big difference between other camping areas in Temagami, I found, is that there is a ready supply of wood within a short walk of wherever you're camped. So that's been really nice. And the rest of the day is going to be just getting hunkered down. I've tightened up the tarp and put away stuff and rain-proof my campsite. And now nothing to do but hurry up and wait. But it's a great day. Almost no bugs, not a lot of sun, just sort of that perfect air temperature, maybe slightly on the cool side, but that's how I like it. So for me, it's a lovely day. And if tomorrow turns out okay, I should wake up with a favorable wind and just head on out. So that's the plan. So for the rest of the day, I'm just going to be taking in the scenes, the sounds, the smells, the environment, and seeing what the weather gods provide. Mason's happily tucked under a rock over there using a rock as a pillow. So he's obviously not too bothered by the weather. Well, we're coming up on 3 p.m. now, and well, I'm waiting for the rain to start. The forecast I got on my device said, you know, rain today by 3. But despite the charcoal-colored clouds above, there's also a lot of bright sky, not blue sky, but bright sky. And when I look down lake, the weather that's coming in doesn't appear to be any more gloomy than the weather that's over top of me right now. So not sure what's going on, but if it rains, I'm good, and if not, well, even better. The plan is still to push off at early hour tomorrow and try to beat the midday winds, and hopefully the wind will be in my favor. So between now and then, it's just chilling out. Might grab a quick nap and then get up and start on dinner. Just had myself a little nap, and during that time, I don't know, 3 or 4 storms just sort of blew on through. The winds were very high, the rain was moderate, but you could tell it was just one system packed behind another system, and now the wind is a fraction of what it was earlier today. And there's just the odd bit of spittle falling. So hopefully that's it for the rain. And tomorrow will be an easy and early pack up. But now it's hot chocolate time to warm up a little bit because there's a chill in the air and it's also quite humid. So it's, yeah, it's kind of a clammy feeling at the moment. And tonight's dinner will be chili. So here is the finished product, chili and naan. And Mason's already started on his. Good morning from under the tarp. It's about 4:20, and I've been up for about an hour. I'm on my second cup of coffee now, and just really couldn't sleep past 3:30. Was in bed so early last night with the rain, and plus the nap yesterday just made it difficult to lie there much longer. So got up super early, had a coffee, and listened to the beaver make his rounds out front, and now it's just sort of dead quiet, with the exception of the rapids in the distance. And one strange bird call I heard back in the woods. It's been a dead calm, dead quiet morning. No rain, no wind, and should be a perfect night to paddle out of here. Perfect morning to paddle out of here. So as soon as the sun shows itself, I am going to pack up, hit the canoe, and get started on the paddle back, which is about 2 hours or so. So that's the plan for the morning. Coffee number 2 is waiting here. Mason's still in the tent, and as soon as I see a hint of light, I'll let him out and start packing up. "5:56 a.m. and just hitting the water now. I've been waiting for the past half hour for daylight to appear, and it has been very slow to come this morning. I mean, it is August, and it is very overcast with rain forecasted. But until 5 minutes ago, I couldn't tell north from south. But now we're all packed up, and all I've heard this morning is a barred owl. Other than that, it's been a completely silent morning. And now the lake is just glass, and if it stays like this all the way back, that would be just fine by me. But I do love these early mornings. Well, it's barely 6:05. The wind is already up. But the good news is, it is from behind me. So it is blowing in exactly the opposite direction that it was yesterday, which is great news. So hopefully this will hold up until I make my way back. But at the moment it's just a breeze, but it's already starting to gust. So it looks like this weather is not done with us yet. You having a good nap there, bud? Yeah, is my leg comfortable for you? Good boy. Good boy. All right, go back to sleep. I'll keep paddling. Don't you worry. Right there. (6:22) and the wind has really picked up. It's blowing me exactly where I want to go, but for so early in the day, it's a lot of wind, and I can hear it building in the trees. So glad I left early, and glad to have the wind at my back. Starting to brighten up a bit, but still, what a gloomy looking day. I mean, it feels like autumn. If it wasn't for the warmer temperatures, you could swear this was an October day. Just from the silence, and the cloud cover, and the vibe. Everything except the temperature, which is probably around 16 or 17 right now. What a glorious paddle out. I'm just in no hurry. Of course, having a warm dog sleeping in your lap doesn't hurt either. Keep your legs warm. Well, that's it for me. Another trip in the books. It's 7:40 now. It took me about an hour and 40 minutes to get here from the top northwest arm of Temagami. And glad I left when I did. Caught an incredible tailwind all the way back, and the misty rain has just begun now. And I'm back at the parking area, which is great. So just an amazing trip this time. You know, the intimacy of North Chiniguchi, the incredible stars 2 nights in a row, and even the rain just makes this sort of a complete trip of beautiful night sky, you know, the gloom, and you know, all the things that make up a canoe trip. And the loon calls up on McConnell Bay were just shrieking. The echoes, I've never heard calls quite like that. So all in all, an amazing trip. Can't wait to come back to Temagami, and we'll see you on the next one.